without further ado, I am going to welcome a woman who has been featured in Trinidad and Tobago's Express Women's Magazine. You have heard her on the radio and on your television sets. She's an author, she's an educator, she's a motivational speaker. She is the founder of the Heart of a Sister Foundation, Family Foundation. She is a wife, a mother, a sister, cousin, but most importantly, she's a friend. And when Suzanna gives you her word, it is her word, it is settled. The thing is settled. And Suzanna, sometimes when I see you, I see pieces of Christ. And for that, I am thankful, because it says to me that this is what you're striving for. So I welcome you to this stage. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Right where you are, somebody lift up the name of Jesus. Come on, call his name now. We're standing in his face. How would you act? Call his name Jesus. I'm ready. Jesus, Jesus,
name, Jesus.
Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Come on, call his name Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, turn it for me, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Because of the abundance that God has entrusted to me. And I sit there, and I heard my good friend, which I do thank you. Most of all, what I thank you for this evening. You have captured the vision. When God gives you a vision, and I always say God most time gave a vision to one person. And that one person is responsible for building and growing and shaping that vision. Now they can't do it alone. So they got a team around them. But the challenge usually is to get people like-minded like you are. People to understand the dream, understand the vision, lay hold on it, and walk that walk with you. Wow, what a challenge. And my heart is blessed this evening because I hear it coming from you, that you captured the vision. And you said something that made me smile and challenge at the same time. And Giselle also messaged me some time ago and described me as fearless. And why I smile is because as a little girl growing up, my sisters will tell you differently. And I was known to be afraid of people. I really was afraid of people. And there was two of us, myself and another sister. We grew up as twins, like oh my God, Zach growing up as twins. And people take them for twins. So the thing about it is, most of the time they would see my other sister, because she's the one who's all out there, have energy, excitement, happy. Oh gosh, she's a bundle of joy up to this day. But I'm always inside sitting in a book, not with a book, not talking to anyone, not going anywhere. I would resemble at that time. So when people saw me, they would talk to me as if I was her. And I would say yes, and I would come home and I would tell her what they said. And we would laugh about it. And it's only when they saw both of us together, they would realize it was two girls my mother had and not one. And the reason for this was I was so afraid of life, afraid of being, of not knowing who I am. The insecurity and the fears kept me bound for many, many years. Through puberty, through the teenage years, through young adult years, I felt afraid. Afraid to talk to anyone. When I was in secondary school, if my friends were not going to school, I wasn't going. Because I had no company. It was that bad. I used to pay my little brother, who I'm still away up to this day, to go across in the back street to find out if my friend was going to school, so that I would have company to go to school. And if they weren't going, I was not going. And I would spend many nights alone and wondering and doubting. And the fear and insecurity of feeling like an ugly duckling. Nobody cares, nobody understands, nobody knows. And you see, we grow up sometimes in a family. I had a beautiful family. Right now, my family is the most supportive family you can ask for. But we born under different circumstances and with different personalities, and therefore we are different. And things affect us differently. And this is how I was being affected, and nobody knew. And back then, nobody here talking about psychology and understanding and all this kind of thing. All you know is that you grew up in a family and this was it, and everybody loved everybody, end of the story. But I thank God through all of this. I can look back and I love that verse that says, all things do work together for good to them that love God. Because from a child, that's all I held on to, my love for God. And so as I made poor choices and got married and got divorced and more nightmares and went from having everything to having nothing, and having nothing back to having everything and then nothing again, and still feeling the hurt, still feeling the pain, still feeling the loneliness. And one day when God said to me, start something for women who are hurting. Because in the midst of my hurt, I had an arm of support. I had my mom, I had my sisters who stood with me. But there were many, many women out there up to today who have no support. And so was birthed to the Heart of a Sister Foundation. Again, not an easy journey. I recall after many flops, after trying to get people and not getting people, I planned a meeting and so many people said, yes, I'm coming. And I was so happy. I said, yes. Now I like to buy non-alcoholic wine. That's me. That's how they celebrate. So I bought wine and I took glasses and I went to the meeting and I said, yes, we started today. Nobody came. Nobody showed up. So I went home with my girls and Lando and we drank the wine. They probably didn't know what wine was before, but they enjoyed wine. And I said, Lord, you know. And many times I would lay it down, but when I lay down, God would let me pick it back up. And so the Heart of a Sister Foundation became a reality. And we later turned it into Heart of a Sister Family Foundation. And this is the basis for all I do, because I see that all the pain, all the hurt, all that I've been through was to bring me to the point that God could use my testimony to bring healing to someone else. And therefore that makes it all worth the while. And so we started. And then God took me to Caribbean Nazarene College. At Caribbean Nazarene College, again, God orchestrated it, but we don't have time to tell that story now. But I know that's God where God wanted me at that time. I've never met a bunch of people who support who you are, who are willing to go the extra mile, who saw my potential, who saw my dreams. I remember one of the lecturers there saying, she said, listen to me, we did a class project and everybody had to come up and give their sermons and stuff. And she said, she came to me after and she said, you need to pursue that. You have something inside you that God placed in you that people need. Wow, I went out skipping and jumping when I heard that, because somebody saw it. Somebody believed in me. I still have lecturers who I communicate with and they support me. I share the vision with them and they support the vision. And therefore I will always be grateful for the people at Caribbean Nazarene College. God places people in our lives and situations and circumstances to bring us into who He has called us to be. But in the midst of that journey, the struggle with the chains always remain. God said to Joshua, be of a good courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but functioning in the midst of fear. Because I know what it is like to wake up in the morning and your heart beating like this and you can't get out of the bed and you have to just stop and pray and ask God and hold on for strength just to make it through the day. Because the fear of day was just a bit too much. And if God was able to break those chains in my life, now he brought me to the place of break every chain. Now with break every chain, I had to say I was a bit rebellious because I didn't even write down stuff to share with you, although I always people to speak from my heart. But I walked with this book. This book labeled New Beginnings. I gift wrapped this book and labeled it. And this week I went looking. And it was on the 4th of April, 2019, when God birthed this vision. And I said, God, me? Why you just do these things to me? I prefer to sit up quiet in the back of the room, say nothing, do nothing. No, you want me to go and make videos? No, that's how I talk to God. He's my friend. So I said, God, nah, man. And I wrote down some stuff here that I'm surprised that I didn't wrote down all these things. And then I put it away. And I would pick it up again and I would put it away. And when quarantine came, I said, all right, I'm going to do the blog. I would just write it. Nobody didn't know me. Nobody knew how to see me. I didn't want to write under my name. I just, when I started writing, and I put the blog out there. And the Lord would stir it up into my heart. This is something I'm calling you to do, and your name have to be on it. And okay. The next thing is I know I'm not technically savvy. And I had $3,500 to pay to make no blog and to do no nothing. So here we are, starting from scratch. How am I going to get this done? The writing part, okay, I love to write, I could do that. But then you have to get a platform and you have to create a website. And then the journey started. And thank God for Fernando, who I taught him mornings and evenings, and sometimes I get both. I will admit it, I did get both sometimes. But through it all, and my husband would be watching me going in the eye, hours on the laptop, hours on the computer. What's wrong with this girl going? Hours. But I had to get it out. And so I wrote what you have seen so far. And then I started working on the channel. Break every chain. God says to us, he gave us an anointing to set people free, to ease the heavy burdens, to let the captives go free, to break the bands of wickedness. That's our responsibility. That's our responsibility. And having studied now, I understand the spiritual aspect and the psychological aspect, and how we need to blend them together to bring help and deliverance to people. So I had no choice but to be obedient. And I called Brother Jackson. I said, Brother Jackson, I'm going to do so. Because he's our technical man at our church. And you say, all right, whenever you're ready. And I put it off, and I put it off, and I put it off until last month. I say, I'm not putting it off anymore. Sink or float. It has to happen, and it has to happen tonight. And I'm going to celebrate. Because when you have a child, when your child comes into this world, you celebrate. And tonight we are giving birth. We are giving birth to our vision. We are giving birth to the realization of what God has sent us to send me, send you, send all of us into this world to do. Break chains. Set people free. He came that we might have life and have it more abundantly. And that always troubled me. I started going to a church named Abundant Life simply because the church named Abundant Life, because I said, well, I will find out there what abundant life is about. I didn't find out. We need to find out. We need to discover. And most of all, we need to walk in the freedom and the liberty and the abundant life that Christ has come to give. And God has shared in my heart a model. Well, this was an exam at my house. 2 weeks now we make it this ladder. I hope what I like. Right? My husband worked on it Fernando salvaged it after we massacred it. And he said, just leave me alone, I will bring it together. And he did. But the labels, pay attention to the labels. The model that God has shown me, He is our foundation. Revelation 4:12 says, if you were created to worship Him. Everybody wants to know, why am I here? No matter what we do, how big, how famous we are, except we learn that our foundation is in worship. That our lives are not any worship. You see, that worship, we must worship in spirit and in truth. So I'm just going to run through it really quickly. That's what the YouTube channel is about. I'm going to be explaining this on our channel. We're going to be doing videos and posting them and sharing them with you. You're going to get some in writing on the blog, but you're going to get it on the channel as well. And I want you to write questions. I want you to communicate. You see how those people will communicate so that we can create a community where we can share, where we can bond and we can grow together. And as we worship Him, we see after He created for worship, He created family. He created Adam, He created Eve, He gave them 2 children. That was God's plan. Family. That is why families are in so much trouble, because when you destroy the family, you destroy the individual. Right? And in the family now, that's where it's supposed to nurture and teach us what our roles are. That's where we want to discover our role in life and in the kingdom. That's where we're going to develop our personality to be kingdom citizens. And as kingdom citizens, if we teach our children from small who they are, and therefore in our YouTube channel, we're going to be discovering this. In our Facebook group, we created a private group where people who are kingdom-minded, and we're going to use kingdom language. And we're going to describe each other as princes and princesses because that's who we are. So, we're going to discover these things. And then when you do all of this, you're going to begin to multiply. Multiply on the seed. Every talent and every ability that God has sown into you is to multiply. He said unto them, multiply and replenish the earth. He wasn't just talking about making children, no. God has planted seed to bring forth fruit in all of us. Our talents, our abilities, and it might vary in each of us. But we must discover what it is and begin to multiply it. And as we multiply, that's where our prosperity will come. And as we prosper, our health will flourish. Because our mind will be in peace. What brings sickness is stress, frustration, fear, anxiety. But when we start with the right foundation and we build on that foundation, we'll be able to achieve health. We'll be able to prosper, as he said to Joshua, prosper and success. God wants to prosper us. He wants us to be successful, but we must learn to worship Him. And we are here at Break Every Chain to show you, to help you, and to guide you into breaking these chains of fear. So just before we started, someone called for prayer from Tobago, because I had prayed and supported this individual, and now she put her neighbor on, and the neighbor wanted prayer and support, and I told her they'll have to come back in a little while, or I could have put them on to someone else. People are hurting, people are broken, people are lonely, people are carrying chains of stress, chains of fear, chains of insecurity in our mentorship program in school. And I'm also developing a personal self-esteem booklet for both boys and girls entitled There Are No Ugly Ducklings. Because we have these young people growing up wondering who they are, not appreciating themselves, condemning themselves, cutting themselves. Self-rejection, self-hurt, self-manipulation, because they don't know their role. And because their family is so broken, they can't find their identity. So as an organization, I believe this is God's way of taking us into a new realm to meet the needs of people, to help them, to be an arm of support for them. Only mentioned the book, Happily Ever After. Now some people laugh when they see the name. But the reason I named it that because from a child, that's all we want, to be happy. And happiness may mean different things to different people. But it means that you find yourself in that place where your chains are now broken and you're spiritually free to be the person God has called you to be. So I thank God for the journey. I thank God for all that I've been through. I thank God for my sisters. Suzanna, you don't cry. As we hear sometimes. I could not take all of that, huh? But God knows why. God had a plan. And sometimes when you're going through, it's not just for you. It's because God has a plan and a purpose that only you can fulfill. So look outside of yourself and help someone in the midst of your drama. Because in the midst of it, God can use it to break chains, not only in your life, but in the life of someone else. I really, really, really thank God for all of you this evening. God bless you as we launch Break Every Chain.